Let's
call the meeting to order. It's April 30th, 2026, 9 a.m. Roll call, Mr. Hillman.
Okay. Mr. Davis,
Here.
Mr. Hillsman, here. Mrs. Parker, Mr. Sanchez,
Here.
Mr. Standifer,
Here.
Mr. Watkins,
Here.
Mr. Woolley.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Next item is approval of minutes from the regular meeting of April 9th, 2026. I'll entertain a motion to approve minutes.
I'll move to approve minutes.
We got a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Next item, staff updates or comments. We'll refer to staff. Pat, you have the floor.
Okay, well, currently we're sitting at 9 vacant, we need someone to hire some, so we're sitting about that 9-10 vacant positions across all public works. And pretty much that's what we got. We got a couple of guys just came back from training in different areas, so continue doing the training. Well, one of the major trainings I want is parks to go to a safety equipment training for all the playground equipment. So that way we can make sure we have somebody that inspects that stuff. So hopefully we'll get one sent soon to that training. That's pretty much it for my updates.
Good. Next, Mr. Minton, do you have anything for the committee?
Nothing specific that would change the trajectory.
Okay. Ms. McVeigh, do you have anything?
So we are building the amphitheater in City Park.
Awesome.
We are building the amphitheater in City Park behind us. That should take probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Oh, good.
Weather's probably coming in, so it'll probably take a little bit longer than what we planned. And then we are looking at reconstruction on M Place and mill and fill on Avenue F. That's
Good. Thank you.
cool.
And we also have Mayor Mike Davidson on the list if you have anything to report.
I do not have any updates for today.
Thank you. Item 5, discussion and or action items. Item A, review and discuss streets action plan, finalize rankings accordingly so the recommendations can be submitted to city council. Open the floor for discussion. I know some of you have, some of us have went and drove the streets and have some recommendations. So, Mr. Woolley, listened to you earlier, so I'll just start with you.
Well, I drove all the streets. First of all, we need to take industrial off of there and we need to take Kwood off there because they've both been done. Kwood's been done and industrial, just the south end of it is done, and industrial is good. I drove it this morning. So that's a waste of money in my viewpoint. My number one, when I drove all the streets, if you look at the prioritized streets based on your criteria right there, I have South Main Avenue from 1st to 5th as number one because it fits all 5 of that criteria right there. My number 2 I had on there was Ivy Street. When you drive Ivy Street, you got a school in there and all the stuff, and that is from Avenue O to Avenue O all the way down to K. That needs to be done. My number 3 priority that I have in there is, Pat, you and I probably agree on this, in the 17th Street. It is in terrible shape. So, and how many are we looking at, really? Top 5? Is that what we're looking at?
I would say that's top 5 right now.
Yeah, for right now, we can do top 5. Hopefully the PAC system will come in after that. But yeah, for right now, top 5.
And when you get into that and you look at the criteria, you can put Lime, Globe, all of them rated about 75 for me. Avenue A is the worst street in all of Portales by far, from First all the way down to University, because it is just terrible. And you get the economic benefit from right here on the square, but going down, it's just, so I would rate that number 4. And then probably I would look at Gum as my number 5.
Very good. And then earlier you had mentioned 18th Street or Roosevelt Road 6 near Lewis Cooper Arena or right in there. And
It's not on the list. It is out in no man's land. If you know where, if you cross Highway 70, go over the tracks, Lewis Cooper Arena is on the right. It is from there to Industrial. It is one of the worst roads. And of course, with all the truck traffic and everything, there's nothing, you can't even call them potholes. You have to kind of dodge after rain and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about is probably gonna be a bigger project than we were planning for, and actually, I would probably recommend concrete in that whole section, just because of the amount of trucks that go through that.
does that need to be on our list to qualify for
We
funding?
can put it on the list and try to do it as a project, and we'll probably just make it as our own, like, different project, but I said, all that stuff and on its own.
You can't get to Industrial any other way unless you come off of, was it 267 from the north side? That's the only way you can do Industrial. So it's
14th, and there's a little street off of University 14th or something.
Oh my, you couldn't get a truck to come.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, I thought you meant that true. Thought you meant total accident. Good. Well, thank you. That's pretty in-depth research. Does anyone else had a chance to review those roads or have comments?
I agree with what Mike has said. It's pretty close to it.
I agree also.
I have a question about 17th Street. Where exactly on 17th Street?
I would take it all the way from Globe and head west. It's just,
Well, that's one of the from Avenue D, well, Levington Highway nearly to the college or to I is all the main drainage from all the streets going south that hits it, goes to C and then down to 18th Street.
And it actually goes 2 blocks past or C, or is that D? D is the highway, right?
Yeah.
So it goes at least a block to C or maybe
Yeah,
2.
to C.
Yeah. That's probably another one that would
Yeah, that block.
concrete because they carry so much water.
The block of C is as bad as any.
You block
Yeah.
it the yeah.
Concrete block of C?
south of C. And it's really that right if you come off 18th Street and you turn north and it's just,
17th to 18th on Avenue C, where that drainage turns and goes to 18. Yeah.
So in this case, we're talking about diverting water drainage.
Well, it's a road that
Yeah,
handles the
that's
water.
okay. What I'm trying to get at is when we use the word concrete, maybe concrete's not the answer. What I'm trying to get at, team, is when we're specifically talking about making an improvement, roadways, I get it. But if we start to say drainage equals concrete, maybe that's not the thing, right? Because technology always changes. If we're gonna make improvements, let's make the improvement based on roadway improvement and drainage. Because maybe an engineering firm comes up and goes, hey, we came up with this new thing and
Yeah.
whatever. So let us define the intent and let engineers, technology and stuff like that help us get into the future, because not poking anybody in the eye, but I'm not an engineer. And maybe concrete's the second or third answer, but what we're trying to get at is, yes, fix the road, find a way to get that heavier flow of water, or in the case of A, heavier flow of commercial truck traffic, et cetera, to reinforce those types of things. And when we put in the statements of work, one of our intents, let the engineers help us decide what the best case scenario moving forward is on those types of things, okay?
and I drove 17th all the way from O. And then I went east and you can just tell there's spots all in there that are just gonna have to be it's not mill and fill, they're gonna have. to be-
Yeah, and I think 17th Street is actually, we're gonna have to do something right there where it needs to be, because when the state did the road, they actually lifted it a little bit, so the drainage doesn't really like that, you know. I think that's been an issue for years now, so I even felt it state about. So we will look at that entire stretch right there, we actually do this one. And just keep in mind, the assessment we just did is kind of temporary, right? Because we are gonna have that other good assessment done hopefully soon.
That's probably just fixing to ask when that would get started or.
Yeah, just in case, so we get funds right now, before that assessment's available to us, we can know exactly where we think as a group of where we're gonna go. One of the lanes that I just noticed that's not in here is that I'm gonna have them added is the 17th lane, between Avenue F and G. It's one of the roads nobody hardly ever drives down because it's just a block. But I found it, and it is probably one of the worst roads I know right now. So, with approval, that's what I want to add on to the list, in the top 5.
Between
One
F
of the
and
top
G,
5.
I'll drive it this morning, go find it.
Okay,
So you need some action from us today. What how
yeah, I would just like to make sure y'all agree on the top 5, and then agree on it, and we'll keep note of it, so when we have the funds, we can actually just go off that list.
Well, if the lane is that bad, can we make a top 6?
We can do top 6.
I know, Mr. Woolley hasn't got it and haven't driven it, but.
I think once you drive it,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like, okay.
I used to live on
Is there a
17
big
lane as a
difference
kid
about
growing
that
up farther
top
west.
6? Just add it.
Mr. Woolley, you said Lime Street too. Are you talking the entirety of Lime or?
No, from O to about Avenue L, because you can tell
Yeah.
where it's
Exactly.
new and improved and the older portion of it right there.
Don't we have Lime Street
Okay.
already approved, the capital project?
Yes, you do, right, at the time. So,
That was what Mike Becker was talking about a couple months ago.
So Lime is approved already,
It's been applied for.
applied for.
It's been approved to apply for TPF grant.
It's been applied for with the TPF grant, yes,
Yeah.
has not been approved as of yet. I do go to that meeting next week.
And that means the funding's not approved. So what I'm getting at here is Lime Street's been before council already.
Hmm.
And to approve for request for funding on a transportation fund grant. So looking at it objectively, I would already argue that council's already approved Lime Street moving forward, so I would consider that project already underway. So on our projects list, Joe, this Lime Street is a project fund, project started, money's available, 0 funded, no, applied for, yes, target date upon award, et cetera, type of thing. So I wouldn't put Lime on my top 5. It's already past that. The decision's already been made to work on it.
so
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
would we be able to include that block of C between 17th and 18th along with 17th? Included with 17th?
Well, I think that's a question for staff. I think with what we've heard, maybe we should have, just so we have clarity, Mr. Woolley, since he is prepared with a list, maybe run through his list one more time. Let's listen to that and then clarify that. Are you okay with that?
Easy.
Mr. Woolley, okay.
Number 1, South Main Avenue from First Street to Fifth Street. And it meets every criteria Pat that you'd give me on that one. Number 2, I've got Ivy. Number 3, I have Commercial. Number 4, I have 17th Street. And number 5, I have Avenue A. And I speak to Avenue A. If you go from Drive Avenue A and Avenue B should both be terrible. Living conditions should be the same. But Avenue A is so bad, you can look and see the effects that people have on the pride they take care of their houses. You can go to Avenue B and drive it back. It's a little bit better street. The houses are being maintained a little bit better. I think that's what I get into right there. And also Avenue A, if you come off of First Street here, it still is part of the city square too. So that's the reason I did that.
Good point, thank you.
And Ivy from Avenue O to
I would have, O to, I'd say about Seventh Street.
Seventh,
Yes,
roughly, yeah.
yeah.
And then Lime's off the list for now. And then the other one I had a question, but commercial was the entire from First Street until Avenue I.
Yes, it's just, yes. It's,
Okay.
That's the one with the big ditch in the middle of it that runs in front of Nick's painting where the water.
that's
flows up?
railroad. That's
Oh,
railroad.
that's railroad. Oh, okay. Okay,
Probably one we need to look at too.
That's
that's,
gonna be a separate project in its entirety. It's
Yeah,
gonna-
that's more of a drainage.
It's gonna have to do everything, drainage,
Yeah.
street, everything.
I didn't drive it, I walked it, it's so bad,
It is bad.
but it's drainage. That's where they drain it.
Do you need a specific location on 17th? Do we need to specify? I mean, we're saying A from 3rd or 4th till 18th, but
You said Globe and West.
I would take it and I would go, if you come off of O and you're heading east, you're gonna go down in front of the University and Guadalupe Hall and all those. That's not bad at all right there. But once you cross, what is it, Avenue I, right? And
Yeah.
across I, and then you're going farther, as the farther you get, it gets worse and worse. And then you get lost in there because, 17 kind of jogs around some houses, it dead ends there. But then it gets into that drainage area. And I'd go all the way to D.
Okay.
I'd go all the way to C.
To see,
See?
I would go all the way to the funding.
yeah, that's, well, I mean, it's a pretty large area. That's,
Yeah, and then, if we had 17th lane between G and F, that'd be great. And then, we could do the top 6, but not in a specific order. That way, when we receive funds, we can try to see how much each section's cost and try to fix as much as we can within those funds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm a little geographically challenged and Joe and y'all can help me out, but how many of these are primary feeders? Feeder roads as opposed to like residential, or any of these strictly
They're
residential?
all.
well, commercials,
Pretty, well, those are pretty.
commercials, probably a primary feeder. Avenue A is definitely residential.
17th over to C and back to 18th.
Because we have a responsibility to get to them all, but remember, based on the comprehensive plan and the city's like development. We do the main thoroughfares, the primary feeders and the residential in that order, so automatically gonna rack and stack them, we kind of have to look at that. Because one of our responsibilities over here, to always fix them all, but to increase tractability for retail, sales, commercial and things like that. We have to prioritize those first, that's a driver here, so please consider that when we're racking and stacking. And Chad, I heard what you said, not necessarily racking and stacking any of them, but doing them as they come, but if any of them are more feeders than others. To the main avenues, to the avenues, to the Kilgores and the 18th and like to get to I and whatnot, those have a higher priority.
South Main is a primary feeder.
Because of traffic, out of Creighton. Avenue D to C on 17th, and then C to 18th would be pretty important.
And I would rack and stack them like that if I were you. That's basically what I'm asking you to do. And then we know that we'll put in the funding and whatnot for all of these requests for funding for all of these. And then if based on estimated costs to do them, if a smaller amount comes in, well, we won't just hold off and not do the top one. We'll go to the one we can afford, etc. But we'll have that list of priorities. Does that make sense?
Scott, if we do that though, we need to put it, because it's not on the priority. When you said prioritize streets based on these 5 criteria, feeder was not one of those.
You are correct, I didn't put that on the list, that's my bad.
But we looked at economic development return, cost effectiveness recycling, safety and traffic impact, those kind of things were part of that thing.
We could argue that economic development is aligns with feeder roads. That's
we
kind of
said-
how it's defined in master plan.
Sorry.
It's okay.
No, we said Ivy, correct?
Ivy.
So I think Ivy would be high, just because it does feed Lindsay Steiner.
It does.
So, and buses and stuff like that, so.
And if we said Ivy from O till Lindsay, for example, whatever that is, and you only get funding for one block of that, wouldn't that be on the list for next year? The next block? I mean, so if we prioritized Ivy from ODA, that solves some of our problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a great question, right? So when and I'm really happy with the way you guys are doing this. The process, but also getting in there, doing the research, bringing feedback in and so on, because now it makes the whole thing, all of it, way more defensible. And so it's like, who said this? Or why are you doing that? We're like, look, we work together with members of the community and whatnot to get this done. So thank you. One. Two, not just racking and stacking the streets themselves, but sometimes we might have to ask that question, Sammy, like you just asked. What if we only got enough to do one block, let's say 2 residential streets, or 1 block of Avenue, I don't know, pick one.
Ivy.
Ivy. What do we do? You know, and if you say, hey, 1 block of Ivy is more important for the development of the city, then we know that it helps us make decisions quicker and faster. So we decide that. When Joe and others put in requests for funding, and Sam, you know this, but we put in the request for the whole section that we request. And then if we don't get enough, but we decide to proceed, then that's a project started but unfinished, and that's good because it helps us the next time. Because in a lot of your grant requests, it's like, has this been funded, partially funded? How much has it been funded, et cetera? And grantors generally don't like to leave projects unfinished. So you have a lot more leverage in the next cycle to apply. So those things are important. 1, we prioritize names of streets. 2, we go through and go, okay, if we only get some, what do we do? Can't do all of Avenue, whatever. Do we proceed with half of it, portion of it, or do we move to a different street? Now we know what to do with the money, et cetera. And to your point, if it doesn't get completed, does it go on next year's list? Absolutely. Right away. You wouldn't build half a boat unless you know.
Yes, ma'am.
I do want to remind that the reconstruction roads do require engineering, a PE stamp. So, those would require design and that type of thing, and then the construction. So just for the roads that do have to go down to base course, that will take just a little bit more.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I'm coming in town, if I'm coming out of Clovis and I'm coming maybe stop, or if I'm coming from Roswell and I'm going east and I get to the square, I take one look at the road on the left, which is A, or I go down and I look at Main and I say, hell no, I'm not stopping. It's that bad. And if it looks good, the courthouse looks great, but the streets start to look that way. The businesses want to come in here. It's, you fill all those criteria right there. And if you only got 1 block worth of money, invest in your commercial, because that's GRT and all the other stuff. So.
Sounds like we're on the same page. So, what do you have enough from us? What do you need?
Which roads would you specifically say need full reconstruction down to base course? And which do you think would look good for Millington?
Well, Mr. Min's point earlier, we're not engineers.
And that's.
You're gonna have to help us determine that.
Okay,
So we can tell you the roads that need work. How you go about working them, I think, would have to fall under your guidance, because we don't know. And again, we can say if you leave it to us, we'll say concrete everything. So, but
Staff to determine that.
well, absolutely, because they do need to have, they have to be able to, excuse me, but you have to be able to evaluate that road and know what you can be able to do with it, and hire your engineers and consultants accordingly. Sitting here from this position, we can't determine that. We can just tell you what works and what doesn't.
I think right now just rank what the roads you want for this ranking, and then what we're actually gonna do is develop a capital plan for roads, just like water. And then we can bring forward the capital projects that we believe the roads are gonna need, like maybe 17th needs concrete or whatever, with the full design all the way down. that'll be like a capital project that we're gonna bring forward by itself, along with everything else. So for right now, I think the ranking will just be nice. So, and then also we do have that assessment coming also that will give us a better assessment. That one will actually break it down to 20-foot sections. So, you know, right now, we're just trying to get a ranking in case we don't get that assessment as soon as we would like.
So to clarify some things, I think if we were talking Main and A avenues, we'd probably think about from the square south. If we were starting on those
First Street South.
First Street south.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, Main and A, first to second, that area, we are gonna have to do some design in it because of the flood.
Yep.
So that will be a different project itself right now.
And then Ivy, we're thinking from O to
Yeah, and I think that'd be a mill, so I think that'd be a perfect project, to be one on top, especially with the traffic.
I'd go one block east of Lindsay because buses come in one block east of Lindsay and then turn back and go west.
What road would that be? On Ivy, would that be like 7th or was that? My notes right now say Avenue O to 7th Street on Ivy.
I'll check, Joe. I'll drive back. I think it is 7th Street though.
Okay, thank you.
it changes, it goes from alphabet to numbers right in there somewhere. So it's a little confusing. And I think we all agreed 17th's a problem, and we think the worst area is the commercial area, which is potentially also a drainage issue, which was 17th from D to C, that area. Is that correct?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I didn't take notes, so. How are we on, what's the other one we had? Avenue A,
Avenue A.
17th Lane, commercial. It's a commercial area. I think that covered 5.
Yeah.
That covers our 5, we're good.
Okay,
So then Ivy would be at the top then, since the other ones are gonna need design and construction. So
Ivy would be, out of that list, Ivy would be good.
Yeah.
Your top.
Well, it depends on you, agreed, it just depends on funding,
right,
yeah, where we're at on it.
We've also got a firehouse right there, don't we, on Ivy?
Yes, we do. So I think it'd be one of our top priorities to fix.
okay, so do we have do you have what you need?
I-
Perfect. And would just like to comment on your comment on the housing and the dilapidation. You know, public improvements are probably one of the best ways to improve areas of town, or but I agree with that, definitely. So, next item, review and discuss large scale outdoor grant project. Finalize rankings accordingly so the recommendations may be submitted to city council. Has anyone had time to discuss and review the grant projects?
We're talking about parks.
For the quality of life, large grant projects, yes. For parks and that type of.
I know we've done quite a bit on Rotary and some here. Morrison Park and Lindsay Park. And what's the other on north,
Comfort.
Buena Vista, Confer.
I'm prepared.
those are terrible shape. I mean, there's no grass, all the trees are dead.
Is it
It's just,
I love the park projects, and I love like the amphitheater here doing good. I think the majority of our parks is we're dealing with irrigation. And I know you are working on reuse and stuff like that, but I think that makes a big difference on our parks.
quality of life.
I'd say the top 3 recommendation should be irrigation, irrigation, irrigation. And possibly number 4 needs, and I know you're working on it now, but to get this building back open to the public,
This building.
this building.
Yeah. So I'm gonna throw something out there, for y'all. Now, it does, the agenda does say large scale outdoor projects. And I think right now we're kind of discussing, almost O&M on existing things, which might not be the same, but maybe they are. I just want to throw this out there. And Mr. Gallegos, I'm gonna put you on the spot for a second, so get ready, right? Here it comes.
Okay.
So, and we'll give him a second to think about it because we're ambushing him. But Mr. Gallegos, talked to me about a month ago about moving, ballparks. Letting the softball complex as we know it be one type of sports complex, but then redoing a little league complex in another place. And then when I hear large scale outdoor projects, these are kind of the things that I'm thinking about when we talk about it, you know.
Perfect.
So of note, things like cutting down dead trees in the parks, connecting affluent water, which we know we're working on. Those things I see as kind of O&M, but large scale are things like a new ball field and things, and if we don't put them on the map, we'll never get them done, so we gotta start somewhere, and I kind of think that's where we are. Am I off base? I'm not using a baseball analogy.
Yeah.
you know.
Thank you.
I understand what you're saying, but at this point, the large scale doesn't mean anything if they don't have a park they want to go to. So I would say before we spend any money matching grants for any other project, we need that irrigation fix, so we got a park that they want to go to in the first place. That was the only reason I would put it.
Not knocking you. Fun fact, I'm gonna put Pat on the spot again. Irrigation, we, because of the billing rates, those are changed. You probably got those notices, and then we started to look at some of our hand billed customers, the schools, university, and others, and starting to look at the effects on the cost of water. And then we started looking at the water volume that we're using on some of these open spaces, green spaces. And the amount of water is staggering. And we will connect affluent reuse water, but the reality of it is when we start looking at open green spaces, we will never make enough affluent water to water the green spaces. So I'm in no way shooting anybody down, but moving forward, I think we really need to start taking a look at our green spaces and alternative things like xeriscaping some parks with turf areas of parks and different things. And let me give you an example, just rough order of magnitude math. Pat and I were looking at just one ball field for one of the organizations. And this is not a decision we made in here. This is kind of a water thing, and finance and stuff. But we looked at the volume of water, the price that it would cost to water that with the new rates. We were like, it would be cheaper in 1 year to turf the whole place. And then that would put the water back into use, right? So I'm just throwing that out there as food for thought as all of us move forward in more of these things. It would be less expensive to turf a ball field or soccer practice fields and then care for those in the future than it would be to continue to water them at the standard that they need to be watered to play on. One, and it would take that water away, And I'm not giving that directive. I'm just saying when we started to do it yesterday towards the end of the day, it was I needed a damn Excedrin after looking at that.
It's a lot.
And talk about enhancement on looks. If we were able to turf these things, these fields, I mean, they look beautiful and year round. There's no mowing, there's no cutting, I feel like the maintenance would be a lot lower, especially for ball fields if we're talking baseball.
And I just wanted to throw that out there. Mr. Watkins, I know you have a comment or a question on your mind. Pat, if you wanted to weigh in on that. It was mind boggling. The numbers, we started adding zeros. Honestly, I'm not kidding. We're on the board. I'm like, oh my God, we need to add more zeros. Where do the commas go? 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. It's the number. It's great.
Yeah.
So just a quick number of in the cemetery well, the meter off of that, they're watering at the high school, 1.5 million gallons last month. of water was used for that field, and a lot of it's turfed now. So it's just the soccer and the practice fields back there.
Yeah.
1.5 million gallons was used, so, initial thought off of that is, can we get a grant, water grant? It conserves water if we turf the fields in that way, so, but that was just one account, so we're not even talking about Eastern and all them either, with that amount, so I think when we talked about parks, we're gonna have to start planning it and trying to find spaces that we can use less water, especially the reuse, because we got a lot of space out here. Cemetery is gonna take up a lot. We just got the survey.
Do you know about how many acres of parks you have? I used to would probably know that, but I'm thinking it's
I
roughly
don't
over
know how
1,000.
many acres of park, but did you say just did the survey for the thing, and you came out closer to 50,
The new expansion.
the new expansion of the cemetery, so it's closest
Close to 50 acres.
50 acres.
Yeah.
So, we gotta plan for 50 acres of water if that's what we're gonna do out there.
Yeah.
For that plus the other side, so, and that's just the cemetery. In one of the large projects that I wanted to do and I was thinking about is to actually move a lot of stuff that we want tournaments or anything with large events to the complex, the sports complex out there, build a little league complex out there for little league, turf and all that stuff. And then with zero scape around there, so we're not using as much water as we need to in other places. And then we also thought about if we're gonna put anything like multiple basketball courts, multiple, I don't know, what's that game called?
Pickleball.
Pickleball, that one. We put that out there. So that way, if we do have tournaments, we have a location where we can build a large parking lot out there and the parking can be for all the fields. And the parking lot could be in the middle of the field surrounding it or whatever, and that's how we envisioned that. That's how I envisioned it, but at the same time, we do have to fix the parks in here. And I think if we go outside the city park right now, if you look, there's no shade structures, there's nothing here. Confer Park's the same way, Lindsay Park's the same way. So I think we can start small, but as far as the bigger projects, so ranking them. Little League Complex, Rec Center. Would probably be one of my high priorities.
How many parks can we water with the effluent?
We have to alternate. But honestly,
I'm just thinking, should we prioritize which parks that we put the effluent to?
So that way we can
And-
design the other ones.
Well, like City Park, I mean, this was a huge thing for Heritage Days for years and years and years.
yeah,
If it had grass, it probably still would be.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be number one priority, would be City Park, in my opinion.
Looks like you've done some work.
City Park is on its own well right now. So that's the only park that's getting watered.
Yeah,
So it's on its own well.
it looks like it's
Yeah, so we've been watering it, and part of that is thanks to we had a big old line break that flooded it, so. Yeah, so we just.
2 days later, it's green.
Yeah, so we continue to water it, so City Park is the only park right now that is actually doing.
Well, I agree.
what if we go in reverse order? We have one park that's nowhere near any affluent water rights.
That's
Morrison.
no, that's the little park over there by the.
Senior park?
Senior Park?
Yep, Senior Park.
So what if we went a different direction and started with a large, the terminology here, large outdoor park, that since that's not near any affluent lines, and that would be a heavy lift, that's our most expensive park to connect to affluent lines. So what if we took an initiative to start zero scaping that park and turfing that park and looking at it like that? And then, so we get something on the map, we start moving towards it, and then we prioritize where we connect affluent water to, aside. Maybe City Park, maybe aside from City Park. City Park's on its own well, which is cool, but ultimately we're drawing from the same aquifer, right? So that's not it's good because we can water it, but it's still pulling from the water the very water we want to conserve. Maybe that buys us some time, so, yes, sir.
Love your idea of consolidating the ballparks. You can consolidate your irrigation, your maintenance, everything. So that's a great idea. To me, that's definitely a priority. I think you're right. There's no way you can irrigate all of your parks. You're gonna have to evaluate where you want the green areas and green spaces and where they're not. That's true.
Let me play the devil's advocate. We got Little League. That's kids, right? Kids on bicycles, accessibility. Industrial out there is a long bike trip or get them taken out. They got to cross industrial trucks and all the other stuff. The hot rodders going through here, it's unsafe. We used to, when I grew up and played Little League, it was out at Rotary Park. We've got how many ball fields over there? How many more can you put in there? And you've got kids in that area that would come to that all the time to be able to play.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have
I think
accessibility.
That's kind of what Mr. Gallegos brought up is, so think about this too. I mean, I get it, the bicycles and whatnot, but then there's also the adult leagues, and the adult leagues come with, after hours, they don't mind, and they should be able to.
That's
right?
industrial out
They,
there.
they pop some beer and they're hanging out. So now you got adult interfaces with kid interfaces type things. Couple kids stay late after a ball game, couple adults come early. Not that they can't intermingle, but it just kind of can set a precedent. It's not the best, right? So that's kind of what Mr. Gallegos was talking to me about. Getting the kid parks is kid parks. Everybody can use them, but kid oriented parks. There's a lot of places I live, and being in the military, I lived in lots of places. It's not a California thing, it's an everywhere thing. It's not me, someone else. But the adult, like USSSA softball parks and all that, their kids don't go on those. Those are adult parks. Kids go to other parks, which look the same, they're just in a different area. So we separate those types of things.
We used kind of what Mike was saying. Lindsay was Pee Wee League, little kids. Rotary was Little League. Morrison Park was Babe Ruth League. The city park was men's fast pitch softball. Then the city decided to put the fourplex out here. And like you said, to generate more tournaments and all that.
Yeah.
But if we do away with all the baseball fields in the parks, is that what you're gonna do and build something out there?
No, when I'm talking about the little league out there, it's gonna be for your games and all that stuff. They still need practice fields, they still need recreation fields in town. But my thinking is if we build those good enough, people are gonna wanna have tournaments here, how often do you have the all-star tournament?
Well, that was,
You don't, because the fields are not that great. So, softball, look at Clovis and their massive tournaments that they have in Clovis. If we can separate it, get these fields really nice and make a really nice area, I guarantee we're gonna be able to bring in some tournaments into this town that eventually will. They're gonna eat here, they're gonna stay here, they're gonna spend money here. And then back to the point about the kids riding the bikes and all that. Unfortunately, you don't see kids riding to the parks no more too often for the games. So, and I know that it's out there, but. I was in the same boat. I played at all the fields when I was small and all that stuff. Unfortunately, now it's not like that. Right now, they're having trouble trying to find practice spaces. We're having teams fight each other over field practice and all that. So my goal is if we build this out there for games and tournaments and all that, we'd still maintain the fields within the parks for recreation, for practices, for stuff like that. They won't go away. We'd have a better place for the games and for games and stuff like that.
So to add on top of that, with our bike and pedestrian comprehensive plan that we developed also, we would be able to put a path down University, and then you can get to the fields, the softball complex that way. And that is safer than, like kids hopping across industrial and all that kind of stuff. But you can go through that area. And if we put a pathway back there, that would be a lot easier and availability, for kids to be able to go out there and whatnot, if they do need to take themselves. And it would make access to an area that has a lot of the large scale projects. And examples are, were you all able to look at the Parks Action Plan with the large scale projects that I had on there?
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of, or some of those would go out there. And so, you know, like Pat is saying, we would have kind of like this whole sports area or activity area. And then that pathway would help for kids to be able to get to it, adults, take a bike ride, skateboard out there, you know, whichever direction you want to go.
I'm gonna make one comment. I think we're vastly underestimating the capability of the affluent water system. I think it'll water every park we have, plus a couple of schools, plus the golf course. You know, if it were operating correctly. I mean, we get 1 point something billion or million gallons of sewage in there every day. You get a 85 to 90% recovery rate. The capacity of that system is almost 8 million gallons a week. We could water everything we have and it would be 7 million gallons a week. And that's watering the golf course from edge to edge, which you wouldn't water the roughs anyway, but just go on square footage of the golf course. I do think that we should turf as many things as we can, xeriscape as many things as we can. And in Joe's plans, we have a lot of pathways, you know, to decrease the water consumption that we will have. But I definitely think we have the capacity to water everything in this town and some.
What's your timeline on this particular item, the large scale? Do you need that? Do you need a recommendation today for sure?
I don't have to have one today. The sooner the better, just because the quality of life grants are opening. So it would be nice to know what everyone is thinking, you know, in that list of what would you see as a priority? Would you see new playgrounds for each park as a priority? Would you see a bicycle playground that teaches kids how to ride their bikes at one of the parks, according to street sense, you know, that type of thing. What do you see as priorities? So that way I have a direction to go with the quality of life grants that I'm planning.
I think if you could wait on this item, I think we would be better off for us as a board to
Okay.
review that a little bit if you have time to wait on that particular item. And we can bring it on the yes, sir.
I did that. I went back and I walked all the parks. I looked at all of them. Then I looked at projects to rank. We're talking about a rec center. We're talking about a pool. We've got phase rec center pool / design. To me, that's all commingled into one because that's what we're doing is one. If you walk all these parks, all that equipment is just terrible. I mean, if we're going to get kids back out and from behind the phones active, then you're looking at modern playground equipment. And then I talked to my sister, you're not just talking about modern playground equipment. Does the safety and all the stuff that you have to have underneath it meet all the safety? Because you're talking about sending somebody for the park side of it. That's getting kids active. So.
Yes.
I agree. We also have, you know, walking trails, ADA access. There's a lot of things to consider. Restrooms, etc. Oh,
Swallow the spider, eat the fly, right? So I mean, those are great things in parks, and you gotta have restrooms, and you put in restrooms, but you gotta lock them because people move
That's
it
it.
and make them a house.
Oh, man.
So we gotta figure those, but we will figure those out. Just for everybody's, and I appreciate the question about, do we have to have an answer right now? I think we should like process this, think about it and whatnot, and then start to get towards something that we can put on paper. As we're talking about this, I'm doing some quick hasty research in order across the United States or North America. And the number one type of park, believe it or not, is any park that has pickleball in it. So pickleball is number one. Then number two comes multi-use sports parks, turf specifically. That's multi-uses, soccer, softball, baseball, any kind of football, any kind. So an open space that's multi-use, that's turf is the number two type of thing, and that's majority of it there. After that, it starts to dive down to some other things to where, you know, walking spaces, bicycles and things like that. So I think we're on the right track, certainly on the No pun intended, right track, but. On the O and M, the maintenance, Mr. Watkins' point. We will do that. We will figure that out on our budget and we will figure that out. With little bumps from grants and stuff to help that, but big outdoor projects, let's take a look at what's the most popular. Now, is a pickleball court really popular for a 7-year-old? Probably not. The pickle itself is probably more popular. But those big open green spaces, that are multi-use that you can do multiple things. Those, I don't think that thing is ever gonna go away. To the mayor's point on the affluent water, yeah, absolutely, maybe there's enough affluent water there and we'll continue to make it. Certainly, if the city ever grows, there'll be more affluent water. And then there's people like DFA and others that are offering us water if we need more. On that, so we can find answers to do that. But to the turfing point, it sounds like I'm really selling turf, but I firmly believe, that when we start to present green spaces, that we want to do responsible turf, shaded spaces and get away from watering any more than we need to, that there'll be people who will line up and help us do that, because I get it, we're using the affluent water, but at some point in the future, we'll probably be, directed one way or another to start recycling that affluent water to actual usable potable water. I mean, that's the future 20, 30, 40 years down the road. So we'll have to consider that too. So let us all work towards these things. Look what's popular, large outdoor things, give Joe something to work on, put something on the map. Xeriscape one park or so. It's hard to get affluent water to, what do we call that? Senior park or whatever. And start doing something. And then we will, don't need the answer today, like we said. But we will get it on as the projects, and the mayor and I discussed yesterday. And moving forward, projects in meetings like this will be project by name updates. And some of these projects won't go anywhere. We decide and vote on something and say, yay, barely project. Little League field. Well, okay, it's a project, so it's up there, so we're responsible for doing it. It might not go anywhere for a while, but it'll be up there, and the update will be, Little League designs found, online, funded, no, progress, none, start date, planning phase, etc. What phase we're in, we'll have those in short order. We're kind of working on some of that stuff right now. But yay, barely, sooner or later, a seed will take hold, and we will start from there, and the project will get funded, and then it'll get carried. Kind of a lot of dribble, I'm just saying, but let's figure out what people like. Pick a couple of those, put them on the thing, and start working towards those.
If you have any questions about them, please, I'm sorry, if you have any questions about them, email me, call me, if you don't know what the project is, let me know, in the suggested.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna jump in here real quick and I'm gonna let it be, I'm gonna shut up. The coffee's pretty strong, so I'm going today. To Mr. Watkins' comment, so what we can do is, and this is an O&M thing on the parks, but let's put all the parks that we have, Mayor, I'm not autistic, I'm looking at Joe. So, let's put the parks on as a project, each one. In that project management tool. And then in the tasks, Gary, if you got ideas like Rotary Park, I'm looking at 6 dead trees in Rotary Park, right? At least when I go by. But remove tree 1, remove tree 2, remove tree 3, 4, 5, 6. Joe, that would be a project. Mike, to your point, the playground equipment that's not so awesome. Well, tighten bolts on the rocket play thing, repaint, pull weeds from, you don't have to do this stuff, but make comments, and then Joe, you get that on the task list, okay? Pull weeds from the recycled rubber, in the bottom of that thing. Put bench shaded for parents to sit there and watch. I went over to Rotary Park, my granddaughter moved in, and parents are standing around. Because they had no place to go, right? You want to monitor your child while they're playing, and they had no place to go. Pat moved over a bench and had some people move over a bench and stuff, but jot those things down when you see them, get them to us by park. Joe, put them on that task list on that thing. And then when we come in here, let's go park by park when we do this and start checking what we checked off of the task list. Now we're making progress.
That's progress.
Okay, does that sound fair?
Very good. Yes, sir.
Outdoor spaces, O&M. Let's separate that from outdoor spaces, grant, new things. Does that sound fair?
Can I offer food for thought?
No, of course. you
What would be the city's position in a group coming in to do some of your tree removal? The reason I'm asking that, we have in area chainsaw crew volunteer teams that work the New Mexico disaster relief
Mhm.
that hit all the hurricanes and hit trees bigger than you've ever seen.
Okay. I don't think. the city
Might be
opposed
willing
it.
to use that as a practice.
There's some admin that has to go into it, like liability and all that kind of stuff. I don't think at all the city would be opposed to doing that. We'll certainly bring it up, Pat, if you want to put that on for a future. Then if you can get with us and give us some points of contact or some ideas or whatever. Cause you know what it's gonna take. I mean, honestly, it's government, right? We're gonna have to close the park, put out road cones, probably put out some kind of roadblocks, observers to make sure no little squirters come running through playing ball or dogs while we're cutting these things down. So the park's gonna have to come online. So we gotta do some public announcements. These are things I'm brainstorming.
Yes.
Then we have to have a definitive kind of start time and end time and then statement of work, even though it's volunteers. You can't come in, cut the tree down and leave a pile of limbs for the city to take out, because now the park's still off limits. So we'll have to go through all that, but I get your intent, but I don't
I'm
think.
sure it would need to be a joint venture because I have been on some of these crews and I destroyed their average age. Most of these guys are 70 years and up.
70 years and up.
I've seen guys
All right.
85 years old climbing 60-foot trees with a set of spikes.
Wow.
So we'll get wheelers involved.
Some of these guys
It's
have a
Joe.
lot of experience in what they're doing. It does say volunteer, but they do have a lot of experience in what they're doing, but they can use training exercises like this. But what I'm getting at is we may need to be a joint venture between the city and them. They can do the cutting and get all the stuff down and everything, but they may not be able to haul it all off.
Yeah, a joint venture. Okay, got it. And that brings up a great point. Place I used to work, we used hot shot firefighter crews. They were looking for chainsaw training and all that. They came in and do all that. They weren't quite 70, they were more like 17.
Yeah, I hear that. You're climbing a mountain instead of walking backyards, but I've seen these guys have to roll 28-inch logs, cut them up into 1 foot, 16-inch pieces to roll them out of the backyard to the front yard, because that's the only way they can get them there.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I mean, they will work, but it's tough on them. So if you think that would be a possibility, let me know. I'll do some investigating, see what they will be able to
It's
do.
100% possibility. Let's start looking into it, make it a project.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
now, if we're gonna go walk parks and we're doing a punch list to figure out what chain needs to be tightened and what we need to do, all the stuff, can we prioritize the park so we can start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and walk them all, and we can do all those things?
If I was on the committee, I'd recommend that.
Our number one park is what, City Park?
I think so, since it is city park.
We're
So
making a recommendation.
we'll come back with the recommendations we'll submit recommendations to staff and we'll focus on City Park as a group to start with. Is that what you're thinking? Sounds good. And then,
Cause Paul Bunyan and I down there can walk parks real quick with a checklist and go through, do all that stuff.
well, let's start with City Park and then we'll,
City Rotary list.
City and then Rotary, I'd say, are
City-
the two biggest parks.
Now on Rotary, guys, I would go to the Rotary. I'm a Rotarian, but I'd go and go, hey, Rotary, your name's on the park. How about you get out here and help tune up this park? You know,
Sure.
Yeah, and I think all the parks that are being used for practice fields are, I mean, those gotta be high on the list, because I think more than one occasion I've heard parents say that they're practicing in a field full of stickers and stuff like that, so.
So we're talking Rotary for Little League, we're talking Lindsay
Lindsay.
for
Morrison, I think is rough for those kids to be.
They don't even
But
practice.
yeah, you gotta be somewhere.
They're doubling up out here on the softball park here, behind the park, behind the field, and behind the restrooms to practice here. I don't think anybody is going to Morrison to practice. There might be 1 or 2 kids go out there or something, but not a team. And then like you got the two fields at Rotary and you're using Lindsay.
So they're doubling up.
Yes.
And not using an actual ball field because of how bad it is.
Okay.
Again, I think these are recommendations we should do, and we can make these recommendations to staff. And I don't know that we always have to do them formally. I think that those are simple things we can create lists and send to Pat and Joe. And
So what's some of the other, again, sorry, new guy, newish, what are some of the other places you practiced when you were a kid?
Those are it.
That was it.
Which,
Lindsay, Rotary, Morrison.
And they have used, there is the little field at the junior high. I've saw them practicing over there.
but it's on the junior high.
It's junior high property, I believe.
Okay.
Across the street from the junior high,
Yeah,
I believe that's city property, actually. But the junior high uses it.
The schools-
About the ball field, that was the
schools-
conversation.
the schools, I think, do the maintenance or mowing and stuff over there, I think, though. I haven't saw city, I have seen,
Yeah, we're looking at that agreement.
it's a joint use agreement. It's owned by the
It
school.
is city property.
and I have seen.
Oh, it is city.
So how about we pick what are the two practice fields that people don't use now?
Morrison,
Morrison
Lindsay.
and Lindsay,
So
probably.
what if someone, what if someone were to say, let's get Morrison and Lindsay, put them down as projects, get them squared away for Little League practice 2027. So by January, February, March 2027, we have put a concentrated effort, so they look like ball fields, they're de-stickered, they've been watered some. And that way we know what we're focusing on. The dugouts have metal put back on the roof, so on and so forth. Between funding, we may or may not have volunteer stuff, we'll put it out, hey, this is what we need worked on. So we put a goal out in the future that, well, I see you volunteer, I get it. You're not camera shy either, you find as much cameras as you find trash, I'm just teasing. So we put those goals on there, so we all know, including the public, that in March, April 2027, that we may not have to double up as much because there's two more ball fields that look like ball fields, feel like ball fields, etc. Does that sound fair? Now we've got
Yeah.
something on it.
Yeah.
It's a what do we call it? SMART criteria, specific, i.e. by name, measurable, we're gonna figure that out, what we want done, relevant to the community, timely, it gets done by March, and then it gives us 9 months to do it. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay, someone should probably make a motion to put that goal.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
The motion is to get Lindsay and Morrison Little League Parks ready for practice by spring 2027.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Mr. Chair, I do have a question for you. When y'all were talking the street action plan, was that supposed to be an action item? Were you gonna recommend to your list to go to council, or do you kind of work on it?
No, I think the street was good and we didn't have a formal motion on that. So we might need to go back to that and have a formalized motion.
I make a motion that we take our priority list that we have given to Mr. Gallegos and submit that to council for approval.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on the floor and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Passes. Thank you, Mayor. I don't sit on this side of it very often, so we'll get it. Next item, we'll move on, discuss Arbor Day tree planting for upcoming years.
I just wanted to say, I made a little bit of a mistake on that when I was doing the agenda. Arbor Day was the following day, and I wasn't thinking that it will have already happened by the time we have this meeting.
Gotcha.
Well, the reason that I brought it up though was because we did have a couple of organizations that wanted to do Arbor Day planting, but they also understood that they needed to wait just a minute so that, we could decide where the best place to plant some of the trees would be so that they could be taken care of the best. And also, you know, they have the Arbor Day trees, so it's a full Arbor Day.
So you want a spot for planting trees right now?
So the
Where's the
Eagles
water
wants
at?
to, the Eagles wants to plant a couple of trees. And we're thinking out at the animal shelter. And the animal shelter has discussed and said that they would be able to keep up with it. I'm looking for opinions. The cemetery is not ready. City Park is not quite ready yet, which is one of the reasons why we kind of held off. Because we were thinking City Park, but if we have some other trees that are gonna come down, we don't want to accidentally knock over or kill any of the new trees that we just did in the process of cutting down old trees. What are your thoughts, please?
What size trees are we talking about planting and where are they coming from?
They're coming from the Arbor Foundation.
Mhm.
I have not been given what type of tree they are yet. They are, I believe, like it's not like a grown tree, but it's like a medium.
Medium pot.
I would never anticipate that we're ever gonna have a problem with someone planting trees. That's up to you guys. If you have a large scale removal of trees, it'd be nice to know, so we have a heads up, but I can't imagine us not ever recommending a tree being planted anywhere.
We just paid all kind of money to build that animal place out there. Let's make it look a little bit better.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, you can, we're kind of gravitating away from the initial thing on the agenda. We'll get back to that in a second, but you can kind of look at the migration. Granted, we have public works out there, but with the ball field, the new parking lots, animal shelter out there, senior center, that kind of that space is kind of gonna grow together. Whether you want to or not, right?
That's true.
The walking trail, the flat areas up there that are prime for soccer fields or once were or something like that. That thing's gonna just continue to do that. So from that aspect, if someone dumped a bunch of trees on us today, putting them at or around the animal control shelter would probably be a good idea to do that. We have people out there who can maintain them and keep an eye on them and stuff like that, water them. So I think that would work. But I think really what the task is to plan for Arbor Day. And much like the baseball fields, maybe we set a date on the calendar where we definitively decide Arbor Days in the future, we want trees in this place, that place, and that place. So year one, we're gonna put trees here, there, and whatever. We don't have to decide that today, but we have to consider an Arbor Day plan. So when Arbor Day shows up, one, we have it, and I'm not poking fun at you, Ian. We have it on the calendar effectively in the right order, we consider it. And then when the Arbor Day teams come, because they want to make a thing out of it, right? It's not just planting the trees, it's the Eagles Club did this and Eagles Club, Fraternal Order of Eagles do this, and the Women's Club does that, so on, and they want pictures and cameras. So we need to be ready to have a place for them and not trying to figure that out at the city council meeting just before that, okay? So if we can put a timeline or a time that we will have a Arbor Day plan going forward, and then we'll lock that in and present it to council. And we'll give them an Arbor Day map and say, going forward, here's the priority for trees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. We'll readdress in a couple of years after some trees show up. Does that sound pretty close?
You know, I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but I agree, trees. Absolutely 100%, as many of them as we can get in. But I think before we get too far along planning on trees, let's make sure we've got the water there to take care of them so we don't lose them.
Yeah,
Like we've
100%.
lost so many of these trees in our parks in the last.
Yeah, I think that should absolutely be a condition
Yeah.
on deciding a place for trees.
Right.
Is along affluent water lines, and that it makes sense for the parks or wherever we're going to put them. As well.
And this, to me, it falls in under a parks master plan. As we remodel these parks, we get them going, we pick our tree program as well.
And I think, and I know there's a couple comments, questions standing by, but I think the Arbor Day teams who want to put stuff, it would help them too, right? If we came and said, we need 23 trees from from here to here, and these are the kinds that work best. If they know ahead of time that in this environment, the following trees work really well, and we need X amount, that would help target the people who want to do Arbor Day stuff. Does that
Absolutely.
make-
Yes.
Is the Eagle still on for tomorrow? To plant some out at the animal shelter?
As far as I know, yes,
Do we know what time or anything or?
he goes around 9.
Okay.
So we,
So Mike, I still got you.
Mike, you go ahead.
In your plan for the cemetery, what would it take for us to want a water line south? Cause it's just across from the tree line and get us water right there. And the next time we say Arbor Day, we're not gonna have a place for them to plant. We can maintain those trees, do all that kind of stuff. But we're building the future of our cemetery right there with a tree line in there, cause it's gonna take a long time for those to get there.
Yeah, I don't think it should take too much to do that. So,
Part of your cemetery
yeah, the
expansion.
legal side comes right through that, so it's. Will take much.
But that would give us a place to put them. If we've got it in the design, we know where it's at. That's just a starter. We could include that because that's his place to go, because that's where we're gonna be anyway, so in the future.
And you did say that the survey has been done, or is it still?
The survey for the main expansion, yeah, the survey has been done, just not the design. Survey, the main survey has been done, so.
You're just waiting on design. Have you contracted the design out? No, not yet.
Not yet.
So 100 years ago or more, this community underwent massive tree planting. And these are the trees that have now gone their lifespan that we're losing. So I think we are the generation that's gonna be taxed for replacing the trees for the next generations. So we're gonna be doing a lot of tree planting over the next few years. So these are good plans, come up with and follow through with, and something we might consider is just a tree donation system to where a lot of these people that do want to contribute can donate to the city. And then maybe we can make a little list, and when it comes time for the cemetery to need some trees, we get the money out, we buy the trees, we invite those people to come plant. And something like that was just an idea that we had. Brought on by the fact that we had people right now wanting to help, but we weren't ready in the cemetery or the city park because of construction and maintenance going on.
Well, I'm big on trees. I love the fact you want to plant trees. I really am. And when I hear xeriscape, I want to make sure that when we do that, we don't forget to put trees in a xeriscape, even though we're doing something that's non-water, basically.
Absolutely.
With the shrubs and the trees are what's going to keep up becoming a heat sink.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully some of the xeriscape can help conserve and provide some of the water for the trees.
Yeah.
Because they're definitely a part of the ecosystem.
Do we have trees that need to get in the ground right now? I mean, do we have like bucketfuls of saplings that need to be planted or?
So the Eagles do have trees right now, and I'm talking with Rich Chambers. And he said that they need to push it probably another week. And making sure that the trees will survive. But then, just because of the rain that's coming tomorrow, he wasn't real sure about. It's gonna go down some way.
Okay. We'll knock on wood for rain.
Very good. Well, I think we can move on and we'll keep that in mind. I don't believe we need action at this time. Next item, any future topics to add to the agenda. If anyone has any thing they'd like to mention for next agenda, now's a good time, or get with Mr. Hillman later. So do I have anything from staff for the next agenda?
Not yet.
We need to go back in there and those projects to rank because we talked about those.
On the large scale projects and
We need
parks.
to put that on there because we table that one. And then we need to talk about the stuff we need to do at Morrison and Lindsay Park for the 2027 timeframe.
Those two for sure.
Very good. And then Mr. Hillman's been very good about sending out agenda items. So if something comes up, please respond. Any additional committee member comments? Very good. Meeting's adjourned.